But the real question and the thing that people really want to understand is what do you do to build a model? So I'm just going to build a model actually, just super quickly. Let me go back over here at new. And this model, what I will do is I'll call this podcast 4 or something, right? And basically what I do is I go over here, I look at the gadgets, and I'm like, okay, so you guys can see you've got things for, I'm going to do a money line one, just by the way. Let's see, I want to do percentage of bets because that's something I always would do. I'd also probably go here and let's say I want to do last 10 games, which is something you guys hear me talk about quite a bit when I do my daily picks, because I kind of feel like that last 10 days, who's kind of hot, who's not, got some weight to it. You can look at the home way win percentages. You can look at the conference things. Team stats is a big one for me. I love to know how the offense was performing. So I'm just going to do 4 gadgets. I'll pick one more on like starting pitchers. So we've got basically starting pitchers, hitters, last 10 games in the split. So the first thing you have to understand is you've got 4 different gadgets, and whatever amount of points you allocate to those 4 different gadgets are going to have it. Let's say they add up to 100 points. Well, if you want to have 25%, have these evenly weighted across the 4 gadgets, you better put 25 points in each gadget to equal 100. That way they're equally weighted across the 4. So we'll do that, right? Starting pitcher stats. Let's make this one kind of fun. Let's do ERA because that's obviously something you would do. I would do WHIP. Honestly, walks plus hits divided by the innings pitched is a pretty critical one. And I'll just say if the ERA is under 0 to, let's say, 3.5, that's a good thing. We'll say that's 12.5 points because I'm trying to, I guess it's not, let's just say it's 12 points. And let's say anything over 3.5, we'll just give it a 0. I'm just going to make this kind of super simple for today to make it quicker. Yep. And then the walks plus hits divided by the innings pitched. I'll go in here and I'll say, okay, again, I think 1.31 is kind of league average. Let's say 1.28. For some reason, the period wasn't seem to be working. Maybe I'm fat fingering it. And we'll make this one, let's say, actually, I'll make this one 25. I'll make this one 20. Actually, I'm sorry, I can't do that because then my whole gadget's over 25, right? Even I have to kind of think about the math. But the point is, I've got 25 points into that gadget. Then I'll go over here and I'll build a team stat. And I want to hit, let's see here. I want to do maybe batting average would be probably a pretty relevant stat, as you guys would expect. On base percentage is a great stat. So I'm just going to do 2. Same kind of thing, though. Now I'm basically, here's the key. Do I want to apply it to my own team or do I want to apply it to the opponent? Right? I typically do own team historically, but there are situations and models where I do apply it to the opponent. On this one for the batting, I'm doing own team. On the pitching, I'm also doing that, but there are times we do the opponent. Last 10 games, I guess I need to probably break this down and put like 13 here, put 12 here. Again, I'm trying to make these 25, 25, and 25. Last 10 games. We'll say if they've won less than 5 games, last 10, they get 0. If they've won 5 to over 5, which is 6 to 10, they get 25 points. You kind of see the logic. And then the betting splits, say it's under 50%, which means you're fading the public. I'll give it, let's say 25. And if it's over 50 to 100, it's 0. So the point is, this is kind of how you do it. You have to understand how much math you're putting into each gadget and how those roll up into the overall number of gadgets that make up the model. We are going to make some major improvements to make this a little bit more intuitive and easy to use, but it's a beta version. We're kind of building this company quickly, but it's where we are today, right?
Well, and that makes sense that you've got a pool that you're going to distribute between whatever gadget selections that you've got, and then that rolls up into the predictive confidence.
Yep. So anyway, if I save this correctly, I should have a model here called podcast, but I got to find it. It may take me a minute. Where did my podcast model go? It's in here somewhere. I got too many things. Let's just do it this way to save time and not bore the audience. So basically, once you built a model like I showed you, now basically what you can do is you can set here, pull up every morning the model you want to see, and you can go down here and look at the predictive confidence on the model that I've been using for a while. I look at the predictive confidence. The team here, Baltimore, had a 56% probability of winning or probability of total points. St. Louis had 10, right? So I basically go through, and there's not a good example because most of these games are playing. Let me find a game that hasn't started. Here's a good example. Houston, they got a 26-15. I have a rule set up in my model, which I'll show you, that says if the difference between these two predictive confidence is less than 25, don't pick it.
No pick.
Or if one team is below, let's say 5%, don't pick it. And I'll show you that actually. I go over here, I can hit the picks, and you can see if it's under 5%, I don't pick it. If the delta between the two sides is less than 25, I don't pick it. That's kind of how I started off doing this. The reality is actually I kind of do the opposite now manually, and I'm going to have to tweak my model. What I'm looking for now is I'm looking for dogs that are favored. So like tonight, I think I have a dog down here that's favored. Let me look. We have, well, they're favored. The White Sox are actually favored tonight, 44-0, which is kind of crazy. What the hell's the pitcher's ERA? 7.2. That makes sense. His whip is horrid. So he's not getting any points for anything. He's actually losing points for his ERA, which offsets all the offensive points he was getting. So Kansas City's getting nothing. In Kansas City, we live here. We know they're not good anyway. And then you have the pitcher from the White Sox, Clevenger. He's got a whip that's below league average. So, I mean, how are they basically plus 124? This almost seems like this is pulling the data wrong to me. It's such a unicorn. But here's another one. This one's not showing. This one shows the Dodgers. I think this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, San Diego was favored. But I look for basically a team that's getting plus money and has higher predictive confidence. And then if I can see that the split is also on the same side as the team with the higher predictive confidence, and if I see reverse line movement, I get super excited because that's kind of my trifecta in my mind, which I was talking about the Pittsburgh bet.
Way, right.
Yeah. So that's a really quick and dirty kind of example of building the model. But I talk to these guys every day on the Discord channel. I'm more than happy to do this and break it down further. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, we've got a question coming here from Steak.
All right. Hey, man, Stacked. I actually have a question I've been waiting to ask for when I was able to catch you guys live. Would you guys say the longer the tool has been around and grabbing data, the more accurate it can be? The tool hasn't really become more accurate. It's just our ability to know how to utilize the tool. And Brian knows this, right? When we started this tool and launched this, basically made this go live, I think it was July 17th. I literally, I think it was like the first 9 or 10 days, whatever it was, I was like 15-3. And I thought, holy crap, this tool is so powerful. I'm just going to make money betting. And then, of course, I went on to a pretty bad losing streak. And I was like, okay, the tool's still giving me the same model. It's ingesting the same data. And then I had to learn to pivot because the trends had changed. So while my betting kind of approach was the same, the trends had changed on me. So I had to pivot. So what I've done now is I'm learning to watch the trends to pivot quicker and adjust to what's happening in baseball. But it's a great question.